The reaction of some of the staff at the FBI regarding their new bosses is just a little bit hyperbolic. As there's going to be major shift and changes in the direction of the FBI, especially after the new deputy director. But how will he be as a boss? What will him and Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, be doing? Well, there's one clear path that I think is really great and one suggestive path that I think a lot of people really want them to go on. And now the question kind of remains, will they? As I think we have the potential of exposing the story of the decade, as there's still some online internet sleuths up in arms and not happy about this. Why are they not happy with Dan Bongino? Well, let's talk about it in this particular video, as of course Fox News has the story here that the newly sworn in FBI director Kash Patel is welcoming Dan Bongino to be his second in command as the deputy director, saying that he's a cop's cop. As Patel said, that Bongino is the ideal choice to help lead the FBI at this critical time. A critical time that is absolutely changing the face of this federal police force that clearly will be changing a lot of its priorities with these two men at the helm of it, highlighting how there's going to be some very big, vast changes in the direction of this country, specifically with a lot of criminals, a lot of bad guys that are probably not going to have a good time, and a lot of people in the larger kind of political ideology that was specifically prosecuted before having a sigh of relief, understanding that, of course, they no longer will be politically prosecuted for their political belief systems. Now, not everything is all hunky-dory, as Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard are actually in defiance of Elon Musk's Doge email demands, asking employees to list 5 things that they were able to accomplish last week or be fired, which signals that not everything is very cohesive within the Donald Trump administration, as it looks like there are some people disobeying the direct orders of Doge. Now, how will this kind of manifest here? We'll see as things play out here. But Dan Bongino, on his show, specifically announced that he got a phone call from the President of the United States. And during that phone call, the President personally asked him to be in this major, important position, and he couldn't say no to the President of the United States. As, of course, Bongino talked about this previously beforehand, saying, I in no way, shape, or form want to be in government. Unless, of course, personally called on by Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump personally called on him, as Don Bongino previously was censored on YouTube. His political voice, his expression, was denied from getting out there to the general public, as the former Secret Service agent of presidents became sort of a media personality. And the more that the system kind of attacked him, the more prominent he became, especially with his live streams on alternative independent media platforms, where he was able to galvanize a significant portion of an audience, as he is one of the kind of bigger right-wing shows out there. Now, that show will predominantly kind of end unless he finds kind of a co-host. We still don't know exactly what he's going to be doing with his show, but I think it's more important to talk about what he is going to be doing in this larger position of power, as there are larger signals that individuals like Adam Schiff here are in some major trouble, specifically when it comes to kind of unraveling the Russian collusion scandal, which, of course, Bongino previously called out, and Kash Patel was the one that exposed it from the very beginning. As Kash Patel a couple days ago had this to announce on the show, kind of signaling, kind of highlighting where the future of the FBI will be looking into and where their actions will be prioritized, as this comment, I think, is very striking, to say the least.
I'm going to be straight with you. I don't want to move on. We had the FBI, in conjunction with the Department of Justice, officials in Congress, foreign governments, and intel people, fabricate a story. Invent a story that could have caused and done serious long-term harm to international relations with a nuclear-powered foe. It's kind of a big freaking deal. I'm not letting it go. And you listen to me. This is going to be very important in the coming days. I'm not letting this go. I want to find out what happened, because it can never happen again. not to a Democrat, not to a Republican.
Well, we know exactly what happened. Eric Schmidt, Hillary Clinton, and a lot of the top brass of the intel agencies kind of came together and said, holy crap, Trump won. We got to stop him. We got to obfuscate him, and we got to stop him from being able to carry out his agenda. What better way to do that than to blame it all on Russia, the next larger geopolitical foe that they've been setting up for a very, very long time, ever since 2006, we had USAID money invested in Ukraine, trying to create a revolution there. They finally got it in 2014, and bada bing, bada boom, they got their larger kind of geopolitical crisis that they've been working on and engineering and planting the seeds of for many years on and now. Hillary Clinton was supposed to carry out that plan. She, of course, was usurped by Donald Trump in 2016, and she decided the best way to get back at him, the best way to stop him from being able to be the president of the United States was to, of course, create this larger kind of lie, this larger kind of delusion that somehow he didn't win legitimately. There's no way, as they were calling for larger coups, because predominantly it was Russia. It was fake news promoted by the Russians that allowed Donald Trump to be the president of the United States, which, of course, we all now know because of the hard work of Kash Patel. Wasn't true. It was all manifested from absolutely nothing. Before we play the last comments from Dan Bongino, we wanted people to sign up to lookunfiltered.com. We're releasing a lot of really great videos, especially on our second backup channel. We just released our Staking Out series with Peter Boghossian. But if you were a member of lookunfiltered.com, you were able to get that video before anyone else was. And that video, 45 minutes of us eating steak and talking about some larger political viewpoints and ideologies that you could see on our second channel. How do you find our second channel? You go to youtube.com/weird. You click here, Looking Out. And then here we have our video, which we're going to be shooting another episode later on today. Episodes first come out to members on lookunfiltered.com. You guys get the ability to call in. We're doing a range day in less than a month, in about 2 to 3 weeks. March 16th, range day for people here in South Florida, which is going to be really fun, really awesome. All the details will be available just for members of lookunfiltered.com. 3 masterclasses, t-shirts. Again, $8 a month, 20 cents a day really means the world to us. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Sign up right now, and we will see you after this particular broadcast, as I plan on shooting way more videos after this one. Now, let's finish off with these comments here from Dan Bongino, especially at the end here, which I think is critically important.
Not to a libertarian, not to any United States citizen. You do not get to alter or try to change the course of electoral politics by fabricating a story, hijacking the justice system then to give the patina of truth to a fake story. You don't get to do that. Why do I bring that up now? Because who is the ringmaster of that circus? Yes, Adam Schiff. And no, I'm not letting it go.
Yep. Big troubles for Adam Schiff. As you know, this is going to be an important thing to unwind, because we have the intel agencies working with corrupted politicians, with the corporate media, with social media, promoting this. And then anyone who stood in the way and said, hey, can we just see some evidence of this Russian collusion allegation? Hey, can we see the proof here other than hearsay from the intel agencies that lie to us routinely and tell us that there was weapons of mass destruction and other big lies in order to justify the larger kind of political power grabs that they always wanted to achieve? Can we get some receipts here? That was me, by the way, and I was labeled fake Russian news by the Washington Post. We were downranked in the algorithm. We were hit significantly because all we said was, I'm not buying this story from the intel agencies until they actually give us proof, until we actually have evidence, until we have the documents. Then and only then we could clearly say, okay, let's analyze the accusations here, and let's go over this case by case by case. Now, can we do that? No, you can't. And I'm like, why can't you? We should be able to, of course, go over all these documents. We should be able to, of course, assess the information in a completely non-biased, honest, perspective way. But no, that wasn't allowed. And in exchange for that, what did we get? We got a whole bunch of just emotional, hyperbolic, nonsense and dribble from politicians that were trying to, of course, score larger political brownie points, that were trying to achieve larger political victories when in reality, the whole country was being bamboozled. The whole country was being lied to. There was even other elements of independent media that were too afraid to talk about this larger story in an honest kind of perspective, in an honest freaking way. And it was a wild time to be around because anyone who stood in their way, again, was just absolutely demolished. And it was not a good time to be a part of independent media. Now, I think it's a great time, especially now since we're being vindicated on things like the Jeffrey Epstein story that we've been talking about for an extremely long time. As according to the Attorney General of the United States, the Jeffrey Epstein client list is literally sitting on her desk. My thing is, release it immediately. Get it out there now. What are you waiting for? There's literal predators out there that hurt children that are still walking free, probably still being larger predators and still hurting more children. Those people need to be stopped immediately for the sake of children worldwide. But the larger question is, Pam Bondi is the Attorney General. What will the DOJ, what will the FBI do here as we have still a lot of different things to piece together? Jeffrey Epstein's little black book is up for auction again from a communist in Vermont. Oh, what a surprise. A communist in Vermont, instead of trying to give us the larger kind of truth, instead of trying to give us more documents so we can understand, hey, there's real kind of child traffickers or child predators out there that we need to stop. He's trying to profit off of it, and it is not releasing a little black book that was sold on eBay for about $425 after it was found on a sidewalk. Now, this story is peculiar. The fact that this man is hoping to get $50,000 just to disclose what's in this little black book, who's in there, who's connected to him, what other powerful elements of our society were intricately involved in this larger kind of predatory attack on children. Come on, guys. I think we could do better. I mean, we should at least try to do something like a little. Let's give them a little bit of something. But seriously, people are just trying to profit off of this instead of getting legitimate answers, which brings us to what people are criticizing Dan Bongino about, and that is the fact that when describing the Epstein situation on the Timcast show, he said that Epstein is essentially working for some people in the Middle East. Now, I think everyone here knows exactly who he means when he says he was connected to a country in the Middle East, as there are a lot of connections to the former Prime Minister of Israel and a lot of other intelligences in Israel connected to, of course, not just Epstein, but Les Wexner, and to the Maxwell family, not just Ghislaine Maxwell, but her father as well, that was also seen to be as a double, triple agent with Russia, the United Kingdom, Israel, and there's this crazy underworld of who's who in the spy world, and clearly there were a lot of countries. Saudi Arabia was even involved here as well, but a lot of people are giving him flack for these particular comments, but I think these comments are still pretty important, and I think we should listen to them in hindsight, specifically with what is going to be a major issue that the general public demands be released. A lot of people are like, hey, we're still waiting here for the list to be released here. A lot of people here are justifiably wanting that story to be out as soon as possible. And I don't think this administration could get away without actually revealing it. This is something that has been on the minds for so many people for so long. But Dan Bongino saying this about this particular story really does highlight the levels of just how complicated it is, just how many people are involved here, and just how big of a story it is.
About a year and a half after that, I'm in a green room at Fox, and I'm not going to say who because they didn't give me permission to share it, but the short story, but not who they are. It says, Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure of that? The person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure of that he's either a witting or unwitting asset, intelligence asset, meaning his plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake. The reason they wanted this story to go away is because there's an assumption like, oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense. Which Middle Eastern countries they are, I don't know. But this person, who's a very, very good reporter, I mean, aces, right?
I think we know. Let's be honest here.
Swore Epstein was either a witting or unwitting intelligence asset, and they may have had his plane wired up, and they're the ones who have all this stuff. So,
well, they do. If they didn't have it from the very beginning, which they did, since they, did this whole entire operation, then that's how they were able to curry favors with a lot of politicians, celebrities, and powerful figures in our society through, of course, this larger compromise. You have Bill Gates, let's just say allegedly sleeping with someone that's underage. Even if they came to him and said, oh yeah, they're 19, 18, but they lied to him and they still have that tape. You have him as your puppet forever now. And you just kind of go to him and you're like, look what we got. Now we need you to promote GMO mosquitoes. Now we need you with your moobs to promote fake meat. Now we need you to promote. I want you to tell everyone to eat bugs. I want you to block out the sun, Bill Gates. I want you to be this larger creature that we want you to be. Now, I'm not saying he's not just himself, as of course Bill Gates and Epstein actually worked on larger scientific experiments and projects together, specifically when it came to this larger kind of notion of eugenics and population control. Regardless of that, according to many sources and people who were very close to both of these individuals, regardless of that larger kind of purview and perspective, the FBI confiscated the tapes, the hard drives, the photos, the videos that Epstein was able to procure, and we know for a very fact they broke the safes. They were able to get in there. They're able to have the data. They have all the data. So Bongino here clearly is piecing things together in a very kind of backwards way. But still, you could see here there's no more plausible deniability that his FBI now is the one that has all of the extortion, all of the compromise. They have the Ring of Sauron. They have all of their politicians in their pocket right now that they could wield and manipulate and use. Or they could throw that ring into the volcano and end this larger kind of abusive, power-hungry, authoritarian style of government, which that's why everyone wants them to release the Epstein client list. So clearly, Bongino here now knows what the story is, what's going on, and how his agency now has the tapes.
The point is, to sum it up, how do you know some of these countries aren't going to some of these power players who aren't making decisions because, hey, you wouldn't want this video out there, right? How do you know?
100%.
I mean,
let's get personal.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on here, and I think Dan called it out. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I know a lot of people are kind of jumping in and attacking him right away. Let's see what he does. Because, again, we're talking about someone that has been through the test of time. We're talking about someone that had his political career ruined because of censorship. We're talking about someone that has absolutely proven himself in more ways than one in this independent media sphere to be an upright, upstanding guy. Now, what is he going to be doing? Well, I hope soon releasing these larger tapes so there's no longer any kind of bigger extortion going on behind the scenes. As U.S. Senator Blackburn just said, release complete unredacted Epstein files. And I agree with U.S. Senator Blackburn that has been on the forefront of this issue for an extremely long time. Will we get that? What do you guys think is going to be happening here? Let me know down in the comment section below. Let's see. But right now, I think the push is, hey, get this information out there. Just release it to the general public. End this nonsense. End this insanity. It's been far too long that we have allowed the government to act in such a seedy, underhanded, evil way. Enough is enough. And if you agree, share this video with your friends and family members. See you guys on LukeUnfiltered.com. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on YouTube.com/WeAreChange.